Hello, hello. How you doing, Matt? Which Matt's this?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. Yeah, hi. I'll just I've got all my timings a bit wrong today, so I'm only going to be here for a short bit, but I thought I'd see what it's all about. So
that's okay.
I'll probably dip out because I'm sort of half cooking, about to eat too.
After doing these for most of this year,
Daniel?
I am. There's always at least half the call that's either cooking or eating, so don't you worry about it at all.
Okay.
I like to open up nice and early now, just to let people come in and get settled. If you've never been to one before, we're pretty informal around things, so we just allow conversation to naturally flow. We kind of do a bit of a round robin and just see where people are at and what the soup of the day is, so to speak.
Okay.
And then we usually have a bit of a theme because we have different calls. We've got crypto calls, conspiracy calls, consciousness. Where did you come from today? Are you new into the group or just for new on a call?
Yeah, I mean, actually, Kirsty recommended me. I was kind of on the crypto. I was looking to. I keep meaning to. Yeah, I guess buy some crypto. I don't really know where to start, so that she said join this group. Yeah, so that's where I'm at, just trying to find out a bit more.
Definitely help you with that. We don't. There's no. Just so you're clear, there's no gain in the group, so any support or anything's given from anyone is just helping. Ultimately, we just want to help more people catch what's coming and not wake up and suddenly find out that it's everywhere. So none of us are financial advisors. We just spent time in these spheres, I suppose. So we can definitely point you in the right direction to begin. And the main thing is, if you've got any questions, you can just come back and ask. Because some of the crypto groups we're in, if you ask newbie questions, you won't really get much of a response.
Yeah, that's what I was a bit afraid of. So, but I might, afterwards just post something in the group too. So,
yeah. Well, I can tell you now.
Just find. Go on.
I'll find it, but just later on, just ask which is the simplest app to begin with, and then I can just post a couple of things for you, and then that can just start your journey off nice and easily.
Yeah, I got something Coinbase or something I joined up to. I can't remember where it was actually. I'll have to check it out. But yeah, I'll send a reminder.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, enjoy your cooking. Hello,
Yeah.
Elaine.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Super duper, super duper. I wasn't hungry, but I am now, and already people are talking about food.
Clock so people could eat.
I know, but then I didn't eat, so that didn't work. I have had a tiny bowl of something. I'm just going to give something a stir whilst I'm waiting. Anyway, hey, Alan, are you with us?
I am. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Have I eaten? I haven't had time to prepare anything. I've had some soup at a friend's house, so that's not enough for me. So I've grabbed a few. Hang on, where are they? Can't get the camera right there. A few little fresh vegetables and a load of nuts and seeds on the floor there that I'm going to stick on this plate, and that'll do for my dinner tonight.
Simple man, Alan.
Aye, simple taste. I've had loads of blackberries today. I've had the last of the ripe blackberries in Chawton Water Park and nearby. That's a carrot.
Excellent, excellent. I feel like I've not seen you for a while.
Are you the invisible man?
Who, me?
Yeah, oh, there you are. Yeah.
I'm here. I am here. So let's see. I was going to say, I feel like I've not seen you for ages, but I think the reality of that is I just didn't have, a call last week, so it feels like I've not seen you in ages. Andy can't get on.
2 whole weeks.
Two whole weeks. Oh, why were you not on the week before that?
Yeah, but that makes it 2 weeks, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, sports side. Yeah. Fair enough. Meeting idea.
So how is everyone?
I am good. I'm good. Still clearing stuff down, sorting things out, and just working through everything, getting ready to leave. Really.
Leave the planet.
Leave planet England. Leave planet England.
Where are you going?
We're off to Mexico.
For good?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not for good. You can never say, like, I can only tell you what's happening right now. I can't tell you it's forever. What is forever anyway?
So what kind of place are you going to live in there?
Don't know. We'll find some accommodation whilst we're out there and just experiencing living for a little bit.
And why Mexico?
That's where Spirit directed us to.
Fair enough.
So I can't give you any more answer to that. We're practicing surrendering at a new level.
Wow.
I know. So we've got some new people that will be renting our house, and then we'll be off for a bit. Go to the land of old history.
Yeah.
Where we all came from. Just going to make sure that
really
Andy can get...
Well, I was trying to find out a bit more about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Yeah.
Are you speaking to me, Matt?
Ooh.
I don't think Matt knew he was on silent there. Marie, are you with us? Oh my God. We can't hear you.
Oh, I can't. Can you hear me now?
Oh, now we can hear you. Yes, of course. Okay. My ears are always tuned to the voice of angels.
I'll get you.
Mum, have you and Grass? Mum, have you met Marie before? I don't know if you would have.
I don't think so. Hi, Marie.
Marie is a dear.
I'm Mum.
Sister. This is Mum.
Hello, Mum.
And we met her in Rogers community many moons ago. Actually, I think we met in Bali first time, didn't we?
Bali, that's right.
Yeah.
On a boat.
On a boat, yeah, diving into the sea. And so this is the first time she's joining one of our calls as well. And so is Matt, who is one of Kirsty's contacts. So we'll do a little bit of a round robin in a minute. It's wonderful to see your face again. after so long.
Hi, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
I mean,
Made it.
I was clicking the link from the email that come through at 7:20.
I think because you booked on early, when I changed the time, I think it created a new session ID.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, but I didn't think about that until too late. Okay, guys. So let's crack into a few things. I've got a couple more people that are coming on that are trying to. I've had a couple of messages, but we'll see. I've responded to them all, so we'll just have a see, and a couple of people that are going to be joining late as well. So we've got 2 new people on the call today. A really wonderful, lovely future leaders. Welcome to Matt and to Marie. Thank you guys for joining and trusting in this journey. We'll see where it goes tonight. I was sharing with Matt earlier, we don't have fixed formal there's nothing too fixed and formal with the call. We run around, we see where people are at and what is the soup of the day for people. We have a theme for the call. So tonight's call is definitely going to be around finance, and also beginning to start this conversation around that Ollie mentioned, which was in the group. Let me get this right, which is all around how we can start to replace and move from a competitive model to like a zero-sum model where everybody can win. And at the heart of that, unfortunately, is finance. So we're going to be kind of just doing a bit of a loop around finance and just looking at what's going on and starting to see where we can go with it. On the last call, we covered a lot around privacy. We covered a lot around social media and what's happening in that world. So this call is going to have a lot more to do around finance. I do have a soup on, so I can still speak to you, but I do just need to stir it occasionally, just to make sure we're okay. Nobody wants burnt soup. So first thing we do, especially if we have less than 10 of us on a call, we can just do a quick round robin, see if there's anything that people want to bring up to discuss or specifically ask any questions. And I will say this to Matt and to Marie, there's no silly questions. And some people are hesitant or shy to ask, especially around crypto and currency, because everyone always thinks their questions are silly or simple. So that's not the case with ourselves. We designed this group as a bridge between whatever is normal, whatever that means, and moving into new conversations around sovereign finance. Like, how do we actually take our own ownership of money and really begin to re-educate and unlearn ourselves with regards to currency and money and how they're different, and have a more empowered life, because our aim is that in the next 10, 20 years, the changes and decisions you'll make today will have a massive impact. So I won't go to Matt and to Marie first. I'm going to pick on Alan and Andy first. Alan, yourself, sir, anything for you that has come up or that you want to throw into the mix or mention, or you've seen in the news you want to get people's take on in particular?
No, I've actually hardly focused on any of those kind of things this week. I've just been focusing more on personal stuff this week, so I'm actually just totally open to whatever comes. Nothing specific at all this week.
I'm really happy to hear that, because I know on some of the prior calls as you were getting into it, you were a keen checker of everything, and it can grip on you quite quickly. So it's really nice to hear that you've relaxed into it a bit more now.
I've loved it. I've just been out picking blackberries and things like that. It's great.
Perfect. It's a world away from
Bad
crypto,
news,
isn't
I've
it?
just eaten them.
Andy, what about yourself? Anything for you, my love?
Not really. I've
Good
just
this
been
week?
concentrating on, I've wound one of my businesses down, so I can concentrate on building another one up. And so crypto and investments, stocks and shares and gold and all that took a bit of a backseat this last couple of weeks.
Cool.
So
Which business did you get rid of?
The cleaning one, domestic
Okay.
cleaning. So it's not doing as well at the moment. So I thought,
Get rid of it.
it's time. 7.5 years on, and I think, well, it's had a good run.
Wow.
Excellent. And at the end of the day, the less plates you can spin, the more you can focus on the plates that you are spinning as well.
Well, that's
Although
it.
you,
I mean,
although
it's
you did
causing
just
a
say you're
lot
going
of
to start a new
stress.
one.
Yeah, well, yeah, a couple of months ago, that one's doing quite well. It's making me more money than the cleaning business did.
Focus
But
on
it was always staffing issues. Customers are not a problem. I can bring them in, you know, till they're coming out of my ears, but it's always staffing issues. People want the work, but not willing to do the job to a high standard for the money. They just want the money, I think, and not the work.
We have a friend that runs a cleaning business, and she says the same thing. She's like, I can get customers loving the money, but she said the staff's just really transitory. Like, people come, people go, they don't care.
Yeah. So it was always the stress every time a text message come in the morning, wondering, oh, which cleaner is it now? Who's going off sick? What do I need to organise? And so I thought, well, it's one less headache now anyway.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, cool. No worries then. We will leave that one open. Mum, Elaine, anything for yourself? Are you observing and listening, or any questions?
No, I'm just here for the ride, listening in, taking it all in. As per usual, I'll chip in if I have anything suitable to chip in with.
Cool. I am waiting for you to start that YouTube channel, the Crypto Granny, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's gonna come. There is no Crypto Granny. I'm just saying that. So between you, Angelita, and Deborah, all three of you could do the Crypto Grannies, you know. When shall we three invest again?
Excuse me, that's more like the witches in.
Oh yeah,
Macbeth.
sorry, they're witches. Yeah, sorry. I do apologize. I was picturing grannies in my head.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Ollie, we're going to come to you last. So welcome in. Matt, I know that you haven't got long, and I know that you are new into, well, you're interested in crypto. So if you were to only ask a couple of questions that would help you right now, or shed some light, what would they be?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I do need a bit of light shedding. Just where would you start? I mean, like very basics for someone who knows nothing, as in where to buy them, what wallet to get, what to buy, you know, but just on a very small, I guess, investment level. But I just really not knowing, being a bit bamboozled by it, and just feeling very foreign to me. And yeah, just so any advice, you know, would be appreciated.
We can definitely do that. I'm going to give Alan and Elaine a heads up on that, because the best way to learn is to teach. So those two are going to, in a minute, not yet, they're going to answer that question for you, because they were exactly where you were, well, at some point in this year. So they can give you their take on it. And I can tell you now, well, I'll let them speak afterwards.
Fantastic, thank you.
Lady Rustica, for what do we owe the pleasure, and how may we make this next hour and 15 minutes the most pleasurable and rewarding for yourself?
Oh, thank you so much. I feel like the errant American here, but I have also been listening and on the WhatsApp group from the very beginning, and just in the last couple of weeks got really excited about what the possibilities are of, just like Matt, I'm new to the crypto world, had an investment that fell out, but I didn't invest very much, and I thought, I want to know more about what cryptocurrencies are. I love the idea of being out of the money matrix, and you know, I love following your calling to go to a place where spirit is calling you. I love that I heard that. That's just as I came on the call this morning, or this afternoon to me, this evening for you guys. And yeah, I'm here to listen and uncover the things that I'm supposed to uncover.
Cool, brilliant. Well, we will we'll allow that to unfold then, and let's have a see. We'll expand on some of the questions and answers around Matt, and then the latter part of the call, we're going to be discussing the question that Oliver posed. Are you with us audibly, Ali?
Yes, I am, Dan. I'm just driving at the moment. So, but yeah, yes, I'm with you for sure.
That's
Just
cool.
gonna pull
Okay.
up at my house. So I'll be ready.
That's fine. You can put it on mute for now. I'm going to, I'll let you drive safely. I'm going to take a photo in 3, in 2, in 1. There we go. Cool. Always give people a bit of a heads up. Oh, Ollie, don't worry. Put your camera off for now. It's cool. One second. Okay, cool. So then we'll start with the beginning bit. I'm going to assume, Matt, we've got you for at least 10 or 15 minutes. So we shouldn't take too long to just cover some entry bits for it. So Elaine, Alan, who would like to go first?
I think Alan should start because he started his journey before I did.
No, okay. Diplomatic passing.
Okay,
So
where should I begin?
Well, first of all, would you agree that where you were at some point this year is the same space that Matt is?
Yeah, I was, well, I don't know if he's as clueless as I was and as scared as I was.
Probably, he says.
Okay. Yeah,
And,
I was kind of quite clueless and scared, and it was all completely alien to me. I was panicking because I was thinking maybe I'm almost too late and I need to get in quickly, and I don't know how to get in and what's the best way, and is the bubble going to burst, and have I missed the boat, and all this kind of stuff. And really, it's just a case of dipping your toe in slowly, a few simple steps on a few simple apps, and then you start to feel comfortable in the water. And then you go from there, and it's actually not that bad. It's not that difficult, and it's a lot easier to understand. Well, I've never gone into depth. I like to keep it simple, because if I go too complicated, I won't keep up. And it is possible to get in there with small steps and to keep it very simple so that anyone of any level can understand. And it really isn't that bad. And there's a lot of support within the group, not just from experienced people like Daniel, from the newbies like me and Elaine. And it's come on in, the water's lovely. It really isn't that bad at all.
And one of the things that Matt said was, he said he just wants to start on a really small investment level. So if you're comfortable to share, like, how much was your first purchase?
I can't remember, but I think it was probably about 30 quid, something like that.
Yeah.
I wrote it down somewhere. And that was 10th of May. That was 10th of May, and it seems like a lifetime ago. And it does seem like my prospects for life seem different than they were before then. My outlook on what my financial potential is has changed considerably, dramatically.
And would you say that's because as you've invested as well, you've also you've began to understand how you've gone from, am I too late for the boat, all the way to realizing that actually they've barely even built the boat, let alone set sail, it's still safely in the harbor?
Yeah, I think there's the early adopters who obviously made a hell of a lot of money by getting in 10 years ago. But we are still early. We're still way before, if it's a curve, a big bell curve of people adopting crypto, we're still very, very early in the curve. And therefore our potential to benefit over the long term is still great. So even someone like me who keeps it very simple, I still have confidence that that this will do well for me over the long term. I'm not someone who, we've got some people in the group, not on the call tonight, who play around with things and can make sometimes some good money in a short space of time. I haven't done any of that, and it doesn't worry me too much because I'm just confident that my money assets, whatever you call it, are going to do better on average in this space than they would have done if they'd been sat in the bank at 0.005% interest or negative interest or whatever it is these days.
Cool. So I'm going to come to Elaine. Elaine, if you could only recommend 2 safe, simple stable, easy to use apps to buy cryptocurrency, what would you recommend?
Well, I'd go for Coinbase and crypto.com.
Perfect. And I
And
think
then
at the minute, go on.
pick, maybe have a look at the coins that are doing well. Like, a lot of them are doing well. I'd go for, like, I've got XRP and hang on, I have to have a look now. I didn't get Ethereum. I never did get Ethereum. I should have done. Well, I still could.
Well, let's hold on coins for a minute.
There you go.
Bitcoin.
XRP.
So we'll hold on. We'll hold on which coins to buy for now. Let's just focus on how you do it. So what Elaine recommended there is Coinbase and crypto.com. And so Matt, I think you said you already have a Coinbase account. Is that right?
Yeah, that is one thing I've done. Yes.
Cool. But did you say you don't have access to it at the minute?
Well, no, I do have access. I just wasn't quite sure because I heard there was a thing of moving it to a wallet afterwards, and I haven't got one of those, and I wasn't quite sure how that works. So I haven't actually. I've just got an account, and that's all.
So the easy ways to, I'll just jump in here. The easy ways to think about this is, to begin with, forget wallets. Just register yourself on a couple of apps, because the sorts of apps that we recommend are very big, safe, stable, insured apps. And especially if you're just beginning and you're spending a $5 and just dipping your toes in, as Alan said, don't complicate things with wallets. Once you've bought a little bit and you're happy, then you can get a wallet somewhere else that's on your computer, and you can send it to your computer, and it's safe. Well, it's more safe. But leaving it on Coinbase and leaving it on crypto.com is not unsafe.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Think of it like this: leaving your car parked in a garage that's locked is more safe than an NCP car park. However, an NCP car park isn't unsafe. Does that make sense? There's just levels and layers. Sense. So you can keep moving down the safe scale.
Being the American here, is that a public parking, the NCP?
Yeah, it's public parking, but it would be lit up. It would have a barrier entrance. It would have cameras. Like a nice car park.
Okay.
But there are some exchanges which would be like parking down a back alley in a rundown neighborhood with some shifty characters. And you wouldn't want to leave your car there too long. Yeah. So, but when we're looking at these big exchanges, they're fairly good. Now, you're American, so you will have to abide by your beautiful crypto laws. And you will not be able to use crypto.com. But you are allowed to use, what state are you in? Chicago.
I'm in Washington State.
Oh, have you moved?
No, I'm always there.
Why did I think you were Chicago?
I don't know. Do I look like a gangster?
A gangster? They just changed all the laws like last week. So I'd have to check, but I do know this. Coinbase and Robinhood are the most prominent US talked about places you can buy, as well as one called Kraken, Kraken. And you may have heard of Kraken in America because Kraken just got the first US bank regulation. So Kraken, which is a crypto exchange, has just been approved by the US government to be a bank, which means you can put your money in there and just say to Kraken, can you actually put all that into Bitcoin, and Kraken will do it for you. So they'll now offer full crypto and banking services. So that's the only thing you need to look at as being American. There's slight differences, but Kraken, Robinhood, crypto.com, and Coinbase are all fairly big ones. The one thing I would say is that Coinbase charges more money per transaction. Whereas right now on crypto.com, there's no fees. So if I want to spend £100 or $100 on a particular coin, I will get $100 or pounds worth. Whereas on Coinbase, you might spend $100, they'll charge you a $7 fee, and you actually are buying $93. In the grand schemes of everything, it doesn't matter, because next week crypto could be down 20%, and next week it could be up 40%. So it's one of these things, and we always say this is time in the market is much better than timing. And don't worry about a fee over here. Just dip your toes in, get into it, and once you've made a couple of small purchases and you've got more comfortable with it, before you start thinking about bigger purchases, that's what's most important, is kind of like breaking the seal. So so that is Alan was talking there about like how he was going through his initial experience. We've got some exchanges there, as they're called, crypto exchanges, and exchanges are a bridge between normal money called fiat and crypto money. So they have some regulation because they obviously have to be able to transact credit cards and bank transactions and stuff like that. So coins, Elaine, you were sharing what coins you would buy.
Well, like I said, I've got Bitcoin and XRP, and trying with the idea of getting some Ethereum as well.
Cool. Alan, what coins would you buy?
Well, some Bitcoin, because that's
Why would you buy
solid
it?
One.
Why?
It's a good, solid, potential long-term investment that's almost akin to digital gold as a solid investment, or so they say, and I'm trusting the experts on that. And there also might be a bull run at some point, which is when it skyrockets, and hopefully I'll be able to take advantage of that at some point. I've also invested in Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin. I can't remember all of them that I've invested, just little bits in each of them. I think most of my money is in Bitcoin, then the next is Ethereum, and then smaller amounts in the others. But they're well-known coins that have a good, solid reputation that I don't think they're going to drop off the radar at any time and lose me all my assets. So I haven't really taken any major risks. I've played it very safe.
Cool. And the key there was well-known. And the reason that is important is because there are, as of today, it's dropped, 5,905 different cryptocurrencies. And 5,850 of those are utter garbage. Just in case that doesn't translate to the States, that means they're crap. So people can get excited over like what's pumping, what's growing. You just, to begin with, stick with the tried and tested long-term coins. And Bitcoin is one of the only coins that's not owned by anybody, and we're going to kind of come on to this now afterwards with the bigger question. Like it's every other coin was made by a person, and you can point to that person. Bitcoin is completely anonymous, and that's why there's a lot of reasons they call it digital gold, but it's by having a fixed supply, so it's not inflationary. If anything, it's deflationary because there's less of it available all the time. And there is nobody can stop it. So if any government was like, oh, we're going to sue Bitcoin, there is nobody. It has no entity, and every other coin has an entity. It has a company, so to speak, behind it. It has a creator. Bitcoin just has a pseudonym, Satoshi Nakamoto, and he released Bitcoin the day after the 2007 collapse. So we had the big financial collapse in 2007, and the next day, this random pseudonym appeared, and released arguably one of the greatest technological and mathematical creations that we've ever seen. And ever since then, that was the birth of Bitcoin, and that then eventually spawned all the other cryptocurrencies. So you stick with the main ones: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. I wouldn't go any higher than those. They're the main three. And then once you've dipped your toe into those, then come back and you can start to expand your reach and discuss other coins, because it's very important that you feel comfortable with them all. But you kind of can't go wrong with those three to begin with. So that is emotions and why to do it. That is exchanges. That is coins and where to buy them and what to buy. Wallets you don't need to worry about. That should be enough to start your first bit. So we're going to come to Matt first. Matt, does that comfortably answer any initial questions? Matt might be eating. I know he was cooking dinner.
Sorry, can you hear me? So I thought I was, yeah. No, that's great. That's really good advice. Thanks, everyone. And yeah, it's given me some confidence to just try it. The only thing I just wanted to check on all of that was, yeah, do you think it's just that thing you said, is it definitely not worth buying through? There was crypto.com was no fee and Coinbase was a fee. So is there any point buying through Coinbase, or should I just...
Personally, I wouldn't. However, if signing up to Coinbase causes you some form of stress or anxiety or confusion, then just buy something in Coinbase. But fundamentally, it's good to be registered on a few different platforms, because they each sell different coins.
Okay.
So I mean, they all sell Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, but it's good to be registered on them. And at the end of the day, if you're going to pay no fees on crypto.com and you're going to pay 5 to 10% fees on Coinbase, you're just giving your money away.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's, I think, what I'll do next this year. Go and sign up for crypto.com. Yeah, thanks for all the help. That's yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, very good of you. And sorry if I buzz off in a minute, but
no,
yeah,
that's cool. You said you weren't here for long.
I'm just about almost done cooking. So thanks again.
Brilliant. Well, I'm really glad that you made the call, and it's our pleasure to be able to help. But what I would say is, give yourself a goal, or set yourself what you're going to do, and do that. Because then if every week you move a couple of steps forward, literally in the space of a month, you'll have grown loads. So don't let time pass, because you'll forget this information and you'll be exactly where you were.
Sure. Okay. Well, thanks again.
Awesome. No worries, Matt. Marie, how about yourself?
So when you're being the American here, is when you're saying Kraken and Robinhood, are those two better options for me to start?
Every state in the US is different.
Okay.
So I need to go Robinhood, Washington. That's not going to work, is it? Robinhood. Is Robinhood allowed?
It's definitely Washington State, not Washington, D.C.
Robinhood crypto launches in 8 states. Now available. Washington, D.C.
Wow, this is fascinating that it's by state.
State.
But I could...
Washington. Yeah, so what date was that? October 2019. I will have a look, but what I would say is Coinbase definitely is all states. Yeah. So I would open a Coinbase account, connect your bank or your card, spend $10. Just do it. Buy Bitcoin, and then it's done. And if you download Robinhood and if you download Kraken, try to register, and as soon as you put your state in, it will either say you're allowed or you're not. That's the other way you could do it.
Okay.
And because all of these sites have to do KYC, know your customer. So as soon as you give them some form of ID, they'll tell you if they're allowed to accept you. I can't tell you of the three which one's cheaper, but I can tell you they're all strong. I can tell you they're all safe, well known, especially like Kraken just being given US banking regulation. I mean, that's massive, yeah, in the crypto world and in the banking world in US. And that's going to be a big green light to manage your tax and everything. Because I need you to know, as a US citizen, the what do you call it? Not HMRC, Inland Revenue, is incredibly hot with all of these exchanges, understanding who's buying from them and who's making money from them. But if you do not sell your crypto, they cannot tax you. And there are other sites set up where you can borrow against your own crypto, meaning you have not sold it and you still don't pay tax. So there's lots of things you can do. So if you did buy some coins today that were $10 and you spent a few grand, and in a couple of years they're worth 10 grand and you've got 100 grand, 200 grand, you can just literally borrow a loan against that and use it as collateral, and you pay like 0.5% interest. It's nothing, and you won't pay any tax.
Okay.
So there's lots of things you can do. I'm just giving you that information now so you're just aware of it.
Awesome.
Go on, Andy.
Sorry, just a quick question. I've heard about Robinhood before, but I'm not too sure about it. Is it something that's available both sides of the Atlantic? Is it available to us?
I don't think so. Robinhood crypto app in the UK. Last time I looked, it wasn't. I didn't hear about it until everyone started talking about Robinhood on videos, and obviously Robinhood is I imagine in America it's well known as well. It's the guy who steals from the rich and gives to the poor, and I just thought it was some analogy. So in November 2019, they said it's coming to the UK in early 2020. But I can't see if that actually became the case. There's Robinhood.
I heard about it doing about stocks and shares, not about crypto, but I didn't know that they were doing crypto as well.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons people like Robinhood. You can buy stocks, shares, gold, silver, and crypto.
Oh, okay, that's useful to know.
I'll tell you what. See if you can download it, Andy, and just give us a verdict, because you can also get a debit card with them, and from that debit card you can spend against your stocks, you can spend against your gold. So they're really trying to be a whole ecosystem, so that you just put your money in there and you can manage your assets, you can grow your assets, and you can spend your assets all within the same ecosystem.
I'll have a look. Bit of research for next week.
Because I think this is all part of this tokenized economy, where instead of your stocks being over there, and if you want the money from it, you have to go on this platform, sell your stock, wait till the stock market opens for the sale to be executed, and then you get your cash. And I think what they're trying to do is keep it all within, so that it becomes more fluid and your assets become more liquid, which means more movement. So let us know what it is when you find out, because I am curious. Cool. Ollie, are you with us?
Certainly am. Sorry, everyone being a bit late.
How was your property development tonight? How's that house coming on?
The glam life of property was clearing basement of old doors that someone decided was a good idea to store in there and rot, and was then deemed as a fire risk and needed to be cleared out. I don't know how the fire would really happen in the basement, but there you go. But it was nice to get them removed. But yeah, it took a bit longer than I thought. So excuse me for being late.
Always does. That's a builder at some point thinking it's cheaper to put them in the basement than it is to get a skip.
Yes. Yeah, more than
but he still charged you for the skip.
There you go. Oh well, can't be helped. So
cool. So we've got some time then, just to open up that question. I want to paste it into here, and I'm labouring on it because it really got me thinking. And it definitely is something. I don't know if you were listening to Daniel Smachtenberger when you wrote that question, or just channeling him with his inspiration. Little side note: War on Sense Making 5 just came out today.
I did it. Okay.
Yeah, if you enjoy his,
that's on the Rebel Wisdom channel. Which has been a real big influence on, I suppose, the whole group, but myself and Daniel have got
definitely
a lot of value from Rebel Wisdom.
I've got a lot of love for him, if I'm honest. Like, he's my intellectual man crush.
Daniel's great, yeah.
Andy, go on. You got a question?
No, you were saying about your soup. Do you not need to go check on it?
Yes.
Thank
you.
Oh my God, it's so adorable.
I made soup earlier on, you see, so that's how I know that how long it takes before the veggies start burning on the bottom of the pan and that.
Oh no, I like quite watery soup. I'm going to turn that off actually.
Mm.
In fact,
So the War on Sense Making, is that something? Is that a show?
The channel is Rebel Wisdom, and the gentleman who runs it used to be an ex-BBC correspondent, and he did kind of quite a lot of kind of foreign correspondence, kind of BBC World Service, war and kind of conflict situations. But he's very interesting because he's got kind of the old British BBC ethics very, very ingrained in him, kind of really all about kind of what it's all about is it's all about sharing and exploring and delving deep into really what is going on, and giving the time and effort and doing the long work, doing the legwork, and making something that is really very high standard. And then he opened this platform at Rebel Wisdom, and he does kind of, I suppose, kind of chapters, or kind of, he does a series of videos on particular different types of content, and the War on Sense Making was spurred off by this Daniel Smachtenberger, who Dan's got the man crush on, and he also had a few other videos along that same thing. But it's very interesting. It's very considered. It's very balanced. It's very fair. They really try and kind of put a light on every possible perspective. You get the feeling like as soon as they start to make a decision and a bias, they really consider, what's the alternative? Why am I making this decision? What's the absolute opposite position I can take to judge what I'm saying, to make sure I'm making the right.
And it's actually, so I don't know if I shared it with Ollie, but like David Fuller, who created Rebel Wisdom, I met him a couple of weeks ago at one of the only festivals in the UK to be given permission. And I shared with him that as a result of him and this War on Sense Making, that it completely at least changed the direction of my life by a few degrees. And he's one of the reasons I created the Future Leaders Today group, because sense making as a concept impacted me so much that, especially during this time, I wanted to practice it. I wanted to have dialogue and have conversations around it and ask the question, like, how do we make more sense of things? How do we find more signal when all I can hear is more noise? Where's the signal? And it is an art, and it's a never-ending process to go through. And the War on Sense Making was the first one, and they're all wonderful. They'll definitely expand your vocabulary. You'll have a dictionary open sometimes, definitely. My favorite word that I learned is epistemology. I love it now. But what is your epistemology that helped you come to that conclusion? And after he said that 5 times, I had to press pause and actually go and make sure I understood it. So he's just released the 5th one. So I highly recommend it. And that's one of the reasons why some of the posts in the group, I will contact people privately and ask them to remove it, because rather than make a ruckus in the group, because it's around, we're just sharing things. And there's no thought process behind it, whether it's videos of, this person abusing that person, or look at how bad the government is because of what they've said, and it's not always the case. And earlier on in the group, actually today, the comment about the government changing the curriculum around not allowing books in the school that promote the overthrowing, or another word I can't remember, of the government, or of capitalism, the government, and something else. And it's easy to see a sentence like that and get irate, because we're like, well, that's not fair. Children should learn everything they should. But you know, anyone that has the intention to overthrow something should be taken with care, because that is an extreme view. If its sole purpose is to overthrow, can governments use that narrative too much? Of course they can, but that's a different question to be had. So all that came around from sense making, and I highly recommend it. So I'm going to read your question, Ollie.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about it. How can we exit from or replace this capitalist scarcity / competitive system? I'm going to break this down into sections.
Sorry, it's one of those horrible wordy questions.
No, it's good, but there's different assumptions within it, and that's what I think each bit needs to be just dissected and looked at. How can we exit from or replace the capitalist scarcity competitive system to a non-zero sum system, which you mean is a positive for all and a win-win? And what would it look like? Because I think it's a really, really, really big opening question. So how can we exit from or replace the capitalist system, the scarcity system, the competitive system, into one that works for everybody, which we term a non-zero sum system? And what would it look like? And this is a question for everybody, and that is the capitalist system always a scarcity competitive system, or is that something that we have made it become?
Sorry, could I ask, what exactly is a capitalist system?
Good question. Ollie? You knew it was going to come to you then.
Yeah, of course it is. So, yeah, I mean, I look at the capitalist system as something that people are looking to, well, it's to create extra value from, well, it's to create value from something. So it's to capitalize, to bring in from something they put out. So it's a system where you are actually going out there, you're putting something out in the public, into other, you know, whether you're creating something, you're manufacturing something, it's intellectual property, or it's systems, and then you're capitalizing off that production.
So you're saying it's not just about value, it's about what you, the creator, derive from that value. So you're talking about putting something into a market in order for you to gain from it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's how I'd interpret it. Yes, and I don't think that necessarily is a negative thing. I don't think that capitalism is negative in its entirety. I think it's actually got us to a place that, you know, has much positive to say about it. There's many positive elements to it, but at the same time, you know, is there a possibility? Do we even want to move away from it? Where, unfortunately, capitalism's creating this kind of scarcity model, which is kind of pushed for a drive in a particular way, which is all about kind of, you know, creating a win-lose situation, a kind of zero-sum game where, you know, someone is going to lose out compared to someone who is going to win. Someone's going to profit out of somebody else.
But it's not a fair exchange of value then.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it, just to ask a bigger question on top of that, is it possible for a capitalist system to benefit all, and that includes plant, animal, earth, human? Is it possible? If a capitalist system is whereby I profit from something, profit meaning I take something, not necessarily money,
No.
can everybody win from that, or is it inherently flawed?
I think that inherently, the person who is capitalizing will likely take the majority of a greater share of the value than the others. And it's gonna be a positive promoting thing to have that environment in many cases, because it pushes for creativity, it pushes for production. It can have a very good driving impact on societies, but at the same time it will allow people to push themselves forwards and others to fall behind. So it's just kind of, that's how I look at it, that it's not all negative. There's definitely positive outcomes from it, but it is difficult. It's likely that the person who is capitalizing will take the majority share, or a greater share than the others.
Anyone else disagree with that or have any additional points on it? Marie?
I never thought about the capitalist system being beneficial for all, and what is, how to, alchemize everything that you just said, Ollie, and think about like what would a world look like where a capitalist system could work for everyone. I don't know. That's just a query. But I've never even thought about that.
Would it work if the capitalist model was how we chose to have a market? Because fundamentally, it's about my understanding of capitalism is it's a free market. It's like everyone is allowed to create, buy and sell whatever they wish. And if you happen to make something better than your neighbor, then well done to you, and you can charge a different price for that. But is it up to the model? Sorry, I thought I saw an alien. Not every day you say that, so I figured that was worth two glances just to check that I'm not going bonkers. I'm pretty certain it's not. It's okay.
It's Goose that's got ET next to him, and he's not with us tonight.
Exactly, that's what it is. So is it up to the market, the model of the market capitalism, to be fair to everything, or is it up to humans? I.e., can we have a capitalist market, but if all humans understood that it's our responsibility to make sure people don't go without, to look after the earth, which then we're talking about philanthropy in effect, or I'm including within philanthropy looking after the earth as well, like using my money, my capital gains to benefit others, would then that be okay? If you had philanthropy and capitalism running side by side?
If the philanthropy was universal, as in the philosophy of philanthropy, if you've only got a few people who hold that philosophy, then you can have a lot of people who don't, and who will exploit people, animals, planet for wealth. Whereas if the philosophy of philanthropy and the philosophy of doing what is right for humanity, nature and the planet is universal, then it could work within a capitalist system. But you've got to have the whole world population on a conscious level, whereby their thinking is, first of all, what is right for humanity, nature, the planet, long term, not short term, long term. And then secondary to that comes making money, and money might help them facilitate that. So I see what we have at the moment very often. Most people's energy is spent doing jobs which exist solely to make money, when that energy could be channeled towards making the world a better place. So how do we flip that around? I don't know if any of that's made sense. It just came out.
Almost. You basically ended though with, so how do we just raise consciousness?
Yes.
Take money out of the equation.
Yes.
Hang on. But just remember that. Well, I'm gonna, for the purpose of this call anyway, I'm gonna be the 13th man. So I'm gonna challenge everything there, because then that is the assumption that money is the problem, and you're basically saying in where another, money is the root of lower consciousness. Yeah, because is money not just a tool? Money's like a car. Like, money doesn't make me. I have money. I like making money, and if I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but so do all you. So, but you're not an unconscious, arrogant person who doesn't look after the planet. So it can't be money, because and thousands of millions of other people are the exception to that rule. So, but the common denominator that is either the problem or not is the human. Now, did the system help or encourage the humans, the system of capitalism, the system of money? Did that system enable humans to become more, we'll use the word unconscious, or less caring? Or would that always, or would that always have happened?
That is a good question.
I mean, isn't it true that if we saw each other as family, if I treated you like my actual brother and across the world as my sister, wouldn't that be that if you had something that was better than mine, that I would say, how can I assist in your model? Because clearly you're doing something that is, and isn't it awesome that we're this expansive capacity of being human gives us the capacity of, instead of seeing you as my competitor, as I see you as my, how can we work together?
As my collaborator, as my So what you're saying there is, because inherently, and someone correct me if this is incorrect, inherently built into capitalism is competition. Like you could argue that's what the free market is. The free market is you're all able to do what you want, which is a beautiful mantra to begin with, and everyone's free, and you can all put your products into the market, and whatever wins. But that means that inherently competition is the root thing that differentiates me from you. Yeah. So what you're saying there, Marie, and you didn't say it, but I'm going to take what you say and link it back to the statement before, then that means that capitalism unknowingly encourages separation of selves, of me from you, because you're a coach and I'm a coach and I want to be a better coach than you, instead of, and then we grow up in that, so we see that as totally normal, instead of growing up whereby I see someone doing something that I like, and my first reaction is I'll go and work with them and do that. Is that a rephrased summary of what you just said?
Yeah.
So in that case, then we come back full circle to the fact that it's not that capitalism is bad or wrong, but capitalism fosters competition, and there's no responsibility for the bigger picture. Philanthropy would take that place, but as Alan said, that's only going to work if it's ubiquitous. If everyone agrees that capitalism is okay, so long as in our rest of our time we're all equally serving and looking after everybody, which currently is not occurring. as far as I can see. So, although right at the beginning I said, is capitalism bad then? Is that what the problem is? And does that mean the answer to that is yes? Yeah? Or certainly is a problem within, is not helping the planet. So, in that case, how can we replace that? And what would we replace that with to make a non-zero sum system, basically a win-win system that benefits everybody? And what would that look like then?
I think that the concept of I think the problem, one of the key problems, is that capitalist system doesn't necessarily encourage the best product, the best facility for anybody in the world. So if you design the best can opener, if someone can market their can opener that might not be as good, better, then they will actually get to a position where they're able to sell it. There's a really good one about if a whale is worth £1 million to be caught and sold for its parts, then that's what people will do, rather than it's not worth anything in the ocean. And then there's the concept that, well, if I don't catch that whale and make the £1 million, someone else is, so therefore I am incentivized through the capitalist system to do so. But also that that sits as a concept that you're creating that competitiveness within capitalism. So it's hard to kind of move away from that. But I think the whole concept of rivalry, the concept of ownership, which is particularly interesting, linked in with the whole distributed ledgers, blockchain, cryptocurrency, moving away from ownership being something that is very static to something that can be much more fluid with the use of cryptography, blockchain technology, selling parts of your house or parts of your car, or even having, your mortgage is something that's very fluid rather than something that's very fixed, which, I think will happen, fairly quickly with the facilitation of, this type of blockchain cryptocurrency technology, will allow for a change in the concept of ownership. So, you move from owning your car to being able to, hire a car for cheaper than it is to own it. And I think that these things will start to happen. But there's still a long way to kind of go towards being able to answer the question of, what would that look like, and how can you remove rivalry and competition from a system that's kind of ingrained in from day dot.
But this goes back to Buckminster Fuller's quote: "You don't change things by fighting the existing model. You change things by building a new model that makes the old model obsolete." So right now we exist in a rivalrous dynamic. Rivalrous dynamic? I'm going to go with that for now. You understand what I mean? And we want to move to or it's my belief, and to take one of Marie's words, we want to move to a cooperative dynamic, to a collaborative dynamic, whereby I understand that my success of myself is no greater or lesser than the success of the whole. Like I can't, and I think it was Smacktor that first shared this with me. I can't succeed unless you succeed.
Mm.
And he said something that really blew my mind. And he said, in a capitalist way, or the way the world is currently, I win, you lose, basically, and that's capitalism. I got the job. And so he said that for a person to be okay with the fact that I win, and I live over here, and I'm going to include, and I'm white, and I'm in a Western country, and I've got all this, and there's countries over there that have nothing. For me to be okay with that, I have to be mildly psychotic, because that's one of the definitions of sorry, it's mild psychopathy, he called it, whereby I'm okay with it. I've got no compassion or empathy towards it. That's their world, and that's okay. And they've got their own problems and they can fight their way out of it. You know, I had my hardships and I didn't bitch or moan. And when he said that, I was like, wow, I've never really dumbed it down to such a level. Like, if you aren't thinking about the people that are losing, if you aren't concerned about the disparity, if that doesn't cause you on some level to stop and go, this isn't right, then you are mild psychopathy. So if we want to move to a cooperative dynamic whereby everyone benefits, it's not about, I don't think it's about changing the system that we've got, because fundamentally, capitalism does not have a value for nature left in its place. And if it did, it would only be through ownership, because someone would put a fence around some wood and say, what's the value of wood per kilogram? It's £1,000. How many trees have I got? Okay, this is an asset now, and I can sell it. But somebody at some point would liquidate that asset by cutting the trees, which means it only had a value based on the end product of the wood, which is chopped. There is no, capitalism doesn't have a way to put a value on leaving the fish in the ocean, on not chopping the trees down. The closest we've come to is the carbon market, which we have valued things leaving them as they are, but even then that's traded. So if we're not going to have the capitalist system that values things and we want to move to a cooperative model, how do you value exchange? What is the unit of exchange in a non-capitalist model? If you're not having money or money in its current currency, in its current guise, what is the unit of exchange? Do we use time or energy, or do we tokenize something, which is kind of like universal basic income? If you just give people, or the concept is, if you give people tokens to spend, people will keep things moving. But that doesn't get rid of competition, because you'll still have people wanting to collect as many tokens as possible. And so does this all come back down to ownership?
How do they do this within small tribes? We need Bruce Parry on this call. So I'm thinking, how
I met
did
him
they
as
do
well last week.
Did you? How did they do
Yeah.
it within a small tribe? And then could any of their principles translate to the human tribe globally?
Okay, I'm going to research that, and whilst Andy shares her whatever she wishes to.
Yeah, it was just a thought when I was a child and we were living in Hungary, in the small village. They didn't really have much. Well, the people don't really have any money, and what they used to do is one guy would be a pig farmer, another one would be growing corn. And like my grandfather was the tractor mechanic, so he didn't grow anything. So it was always, he got paid with meat, with vegetables, with fruit, and everybody just exchanged food depending on what they were growing, livestock and meat and vegetables, fruit from the gardens. And so nobody exchanged money. It was always about exchanging. If somebody's got meat, they'll swap it for some vegetables, and that's the way things worked. Everybody helped each other out. In winter time, there was a lot of shortage, so everybody helped each other out. Whether one got more than another in exchange, it didn't matter.
So, but if you go back mentally to that time, I'm gonna have to, I don't know any other way to phrase it. I'll say a statement. Tell me if that's true. Was there no emphasis on hoarding and collecting, other than maybe for storage? You know, was the person who had the most considered the richest, or did that person give just as much?
Well, the person that had, say, the biggest property and the most land would probably have people come into their property in the winter time, when some of the poorer people who didn't have much couldn't even collect wood for firewood. So the guy that was better off land wise and house-wise had more bedrooms, he'd invite some of the villagers to stay with him for the winter, and they'd be the ones helping him out during the summer, bringing the crop in at the harvest and things in exchange for what he'd done during the winter for them.
Nice. So that's because I'm going to read something here, and it sounds similar to that. And Pinochet said in 1999 that a gift economy is one where status is given to individuals based on what they give, as opposed to a commodity or exchange economy where status is given to those individuals who have the most. So I don't think necessarily you're directly talking about a gift economy, but it is more like that than the other, because people are basically saying, this is what I have. And the poor people in that moment didn't have anything, so they would receive, but then at another time they would then contribute back what they did have, which is time, and they would pick and they would collect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in a if we lived in a gift economy now, or chose to operate part of ourselves in a gift economy, what would you give, and how comfortable would you be not collecting, not hoarding, not keeping lots? Open question.
I can answer the how comfortable would I be not hoarding if I was confident that we were living in this world where everyone gives what they can and shares what they can, what assets they have. And when I say assets, I mean skills, food, whatever it is that they've got. Then I would see absolutely no need to hoard. Within the economy that we have, there is an imperative to save and invest and make sure, you know, whether it's a pension or crypto or whatever it is, to make sure you're safe for the future and make sure there's enough to see your kids through college or whatever it is that you want to do. That imperative would not be there if it was a gift-based economy where everyone just gave what they can to make sure everybody's looked after. You know, you just do what you have to do.
You said a key word there, and I want other people's take on it as well, but I want to pick up on one word, and that word was, if I felt safe, that's what we were in. Because there's the whole chicken and egg thing as well in all this.
Yeah.
And me and Christina have felt it with this surrender experiment that we're doing, and we've read surrender books, and we're really just letting go and trusting. But I'll tell you what, it is scary, really scary. Like giving up your house, giving up all your, and we're the people that are moving into our house are buying everything in the house. We're leaving with our backpacks on. We've put a couple of things in storage and sold some stuff. So we're letting go of everything, all the bits of trinkets, everything you acquire. And that is liberating, but really scary. And so it's like, but at some point in surrendering, you have to actually let go and surrender. So at some point, if we all want a different system, what are you willing to give up to get to it? Because it would be really easy if we could all go, okay, everyone, there's this world here, but if you all come to this world, everything's kind of covered. And that would be really easy to do because you know you're moving into it. But if we have to create that world, then there's a period where you're juggling or balancing, or you're trying to build this one and operate, let's say, as a gift economy or a token economy, but then you need to go over here to buy some rice because no one has any. So it's like, how comfortable would you be in a transitory phase? And does it just come down to how much you actually want a system that is a win-win for everybody?
So almost like taking one for the team, potentially being prepared to take one for the team in order to get humanity there. You know, to set an example. Know that if
and being willing to fail.
Yeah, taking one for the team, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Would you be willing? Go on.
Sorry, I was just about to say that that's something I'm doing, because I've no children, no nothing, just this puppy behind me. So the only thing that I'm accumulating any assets, wealth, whatever you want to call it, is so that I can do some good with it. And like your philanthropy work, a lot of charity work, I do support quite a few charities with the money that I'm making, trying to make that little bit of difference to make the world a better place for, I don't know, whoever might be coming after me.
So then it's operating. That's spinning both plates, I suppose. That's saying, look, this is the world that we're in, and I'm also trying to contribute towards a change in thought over here. Because I think the other thing we have to accept, or I've recently begun to accept this, is that I am not the person, or I don't think I'm the person who's going to necessarily birth or live in fully the new world. I think I will be part of the transition, a bit like, you know, we were all born with no technology, and at some point in our lives, technology appeared. And we hold that gap. Everyone born today is born with phones. And I believe we'll be part of this transition out of the collapse of or dissolvement of capitalism in some form, and the potentially messy or experimental birth of new economies and different economies. And that by the time I die, maybe one of those hasn't arose as the winner, but they're being tested and worked with. And I do think blockchain will be part of that, because I think it will create transparency everywhere, and will begin the process of dismantling ownership. Because at the root cause of all of this, we go back to that gift economy versus a commodity or an exchange economy, is ownership. You can't acquire if you don't own.
Yeah,
that's simple. If we don't own cars and we don't own homes, but we have access to them. Look at the rise of co-working spaces. I thought they were crazy when I first heard them. I was like, who's not going to have an office, and who's going to work in an office with lots of other people? Now, who on earth wants an office? You know, or an office that's isolated. Like now people are like, just, you know, I can have my little space and I come out and there's people to chat to. It's decentralized working. And since COVID, that's only going to happen more and more and more. So, and I think Tesla's only going to decentralize car ownership. And I wouldn't be surprised soon if some of the big car companies will pop. So if it all comes down to ownership, then is all we have to do begin to practice that whilst these new testing beds are being experimented on?
I think there's definitely a really interesting kind of phase shift from the perspective of ownership. And I mean, even just, you know, what the youth of today want to spend their money on, and actually to some extent what I want to spend my money on, is more about experience. It's more about you know, it's less about ownership, but at the same time, you know, I think status is a really important thing, and you know, being able to own your status, whether it's the fact you've gone to the nicest spa or the fact you've managed to post yourself in this particular country you've gone to, that still has a relevance. And I mean, I think status is a really interesting one, because I think status is, you know, even before money, status has been there, and status is something that has existed in humanity right back. And you can see it in kind of in mammals and animals, that, you know, that they want to create that status, and will that status be there, you know, just as a process of finding a mate, and how can you remove that as a concept? And I think you can keep going with these kind of things, and I don't want to keep pushing it too far, but you know, I think that I can see a really positive shift from the requirement to own to create status, to being able to access and have available to you many, many more of the things that you would need in your life for a very, very cost effective or very accessible price compared to what you were able to afford before. And hopefully that shift will change in the right way and won't go too much towards the status element.
And you've just reminded me of one thing as well, which is around, I've only seen a couple of these, but they're things libraries. Has anyone seen them? And there's apps as well, and the app is called Borrow It. And so a things library is the same as a library, but instead of books, it has things, ladders and screwdrivers and drills and things. So you can go to the things library and you can hire a lawnmower. It's all free of charge. I think you have to pay like a deposit and bring it back and stuff like that. And you get rated and or approved that you brought it back on time. And when I first saw a things library, I was like, what a great idea. And it says, look, don't throw your stuff away or try and sell it for a few quid, bring it to us. And they have people that come who will clean it and look after it and they fix things. And if you need it, you go and get a thing and you take it back. And I thought that is phenomenal. I really liked that. And then I found Borrow It, which is a borrowing app. So I live in a house because I have a general rule in my life, 5 phone calls and I can find whatever I want. So I've recently, last 2 years, I've been trying not to buy things. So I'm like, okay, I need a hedge trimmer. Somebody has a hedge trimmer and they use it once a month. And so I was like, okay, so 5 phone calls. And what did I need last? Christina, are you downstairs? No, she's not. I think I needed a chainsaw. And I was like, someone will have a chainsaw, right? But it was one of those things that it's not like a hedge trimmer. And I'd asked 4 people and I couldn't find one. And I was walking home and then my neighbors were out cutting the hedge. And I bet neighbors I didn't speak to, like 5 doors up. And I went, I'm just going to ask them. And because she's like, well, you don't know them. I was like, I'm just going to ask them. And I went up and said, hi, I live there. I said, it's a random question, but you don't have a chainsaw, do you? And he went, no, but my son does. So he called his son. And then he said, and then he went on the phone, he went, cool. He said, they'll bring it down in an hour. And what number are you? And number 20. Number 20. And then an hour later, a guy turns up in my house and went, there you go. It gives me a chainsaw. And it taught me a really valuable lesson. And I was like, wow. And I used it for like half a day or whatever. And then I took it back to the neighbor and left it with the neighbor. So I think that whilst we are in this capitalist society right now, and I always say to people, look, there's a few things that are not going away. Currency and technology, they're here. But there are things that we can do which are building or testing new ways, but they're also reminding us that we are part of a community, because I think we have forgotten how to speak. And I go to someone and say, hey, can I borrow this? And if they have an old mentality, they might be like, no, it's mine. You can't have it, which is that old thing that it's mine. But if we can move to the space where, like Andy talked about when she was younger, and if we can move to the space whereby it's not mine, I'm just looking after it, and I might have bought it, yeah, but you know what? I'd rather it be used and looked after, of course. And so maybe these new apps and these new things libraries, I know they're massive in Sweden, are ways for us to soften our attachment to things and begin to go, do you know what? Who needs this? Because I have it. And the more that we can do that, then naturally this new economy, this new way of thinking about things, and this new relationship with things will become softer. And over the course of time, more of that emerges, which will create a new world. Maybe that's the answer. Who knows? But I feel like that is a nice point to leave it at anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Really enjoyed that, guys, that last little bit. And thank you, Ollie, for asking. Pardon, Alan?
It's like the Native Americans when they say we don't own the land, you know?
Yeah.
But they are custodians of it. They're using it, they're maintaining it, but they don't own it. It's like that philosophy, but extended to pretty much all areas of life.
I think in my TED talk, I referenced the fact that the greatest supply chain that exists is Mother Earth. Because there is not a product today that did not, in one way or another, come from her. And so the minute we understand that where everyone's talking about supply chains and supply chain transparency, it's like, look, it all comes from the same place. And we have friends who have been going back out to nature with their crystals and their silverware, digging up the earth, putting their crystals and their silverware back in the earth, covering it, saying a prayer and saying, there you go, Mother, I brought it back. Because they're looking around the house and going, here's me with all my crystals and, or whatever it might be. It might be tin, it could be iron, whatever it is. And she said, one day I just realized none of it's mine. And here I am going, oh, look, I've got these and I've got that. She said, I just started giving it back. She's like, I don't need it anymore. I don't need it. And I want Mother Earth to have it back. And that really impacted me. And I was like, God, I never thought about that. So it's not just that your native Americans, your originals are saying, you know, it's not ours. We're caretakers of the earth. None of this is mine. How can I say it's mine? It's not. If anything, I stole it, really, just because I paid for something. And I think the more that we see it that way, we may also stop landfilling and just mindlessly throwing everything away. I think there's a lot more conversations that can come from this. But I like where we got to with it, because it's nice to have some form of an answer. Otherwise we leave going, well, that'd be nice, but what do I do? Okay, so maybe we'll use this for the format for the next session. Maybe we have like half an hour's Q&A on finance and crypto or whatever, and then we open up a big question. I like that. No pressure, Ollie, but if you can have another really good question for next week, that's good. If not, everyone else, you're welcome to throw it in as well. But right now, I'm gonna. He's underneath me, so I'm directing this pressure with love onto you, Ollie, because I know that you're full of them. Actually, if you look up and I look down.
On my side, it's your mum that's right below you.
Oh, is it? Well, I'm
on my screen.
Daniel.
Am I on your side here? Marie's on that side there. I'm a thorn between two roses. I'm hoping on my recording. It makes a lot of sense. We'll see. All right, look, everybody. Thank you, Marie, for joining. Well, I hope you can grace us with your presence.
What a great first meeting! Wow, thank you.
Lovely to meet you, Marie.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your question, Ollie. Everybody, thank you for all of your comments and all of your feedback and just having the conversation, because I can tell you one thing: if we don't have the conversations, nothing will change. I'm fairly certain on that. So it's really, really good. So this has been our whatever number Future Leaders group call. I have lost count, but they're always good fun, and we never know where they go, but wherever we get to is always nice at the end. I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful day, week, evening, month, morning, whatever it is. Go in peace, and wherever you are, be in joy. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.